The phone buzzed on the hospital table. The screen lit up under the cold fluorescent light. Mom calling. In that sterile room, the only sound was the steady beeping of a heart monitor. 1, 2, pause. Hannah stared at the screen before answering. Her mother's voice came through trembling, but filled with excitement, not worry. "Sweetheart, your brother just won a major award. Your father and I have to be there, and I know you understand." Hannah closed her eyes. Outside, snow fell softly against the window, melting like everything she used to believe in. In that quiet moment, she realized the car crash wasn't the worst thing that had happened to her. The worst thing was finally understanding that the people she called family never truly saw her at all. The hospital room was silent, suspended in the pale chill of a Maine winter. Snowflakes drifted down the window pane, vanishing as they touched the cold glass. Hannah Reed lay still beneath the fluorescent glow, her right arm in a brace, an IV dripping slowly beside her bed. The heart monitor blinked, its rhythm the only sign of life in the room. When she woke after surgery, her head throbbed. All she could remember were flashes, headlights, the scream of metal, the taste of blood. The doctor told her she was lucky. "So the other driver didn't make it," he said softly. "You're a miracle, Ms. Reed. A miracle." The word lingered, hollow and meaningless. She reached for her phone with trembling fingers. Her last message was from the night before. "I was in an accident. I'm at Mercy Hospital." No reply. 3 days passed. Every morning Hannah checked her phone, her parents, her brother, nothing. Not a single call. Not a single message. A few old friends texted. A co-worker sent flowers with a note. Their words, though simple, made her eyes sting. At least they remembered. On the 4th day, a middle-aged woman came to visit, a family friend, smiling politely. "Oh, sweetheart, your parents must be so busy," she said, placing a basket of fruit on the nightstand. "They're in New York right now. Matthew's being honored at a national leadership event." Such a proud moment for them. Hannah froze. The sound around her went quiet. Even the heart monitor seemed to hold its breath. A hollow chill spread through her chest. Not pain, just emptiness. That night she turned toward the wall, her face half buried in the pillow. The steady beep of the monitor felt like an answer to a question she didn't want to ask. If I'd died that night, would they have even come? Before sleeping, she typed a single line into her phone's notes app. "Maybe I've believed in family longer than I should have." Outside, snow kept falling, silent and indifferent, as if the world itself didn't notice something precious had quietly died inside her. 4 days later, she was moved to recovery. Her new room had a larger window, overlooking a row of bare trees swaying in the winter wind. Branches creaked against the sky, reaching for something long gone. Hannah practiced walking with a frame, each step sending a sharp sting through her ribs. The nurse told her she was healing well, but inside she felt no recovery, only endurance. When she sat down again, her phone buzzed. A news alert flashed across the screen. "Matthew Reed receives National Leadership Award in New York." The photo showed her brother beaming under stage lights, her parents smiling proudly behind him. 3 people perfectly framed as without her. Hannah stared at the image. No anger, no envy. Just that familiar hollow ache of being invisible. She remembered the small house in Augusta, the tree in the yard, the childhood races she always lost. Her father's voice echoing, "Be strong, Hannah. Don't be so sensitive," and her mother's refrain, "Let your brother have the spotlight, he needs it." So she learned to shrink herself quietly, to disappear without sound. When her mother finally appeared at the hospital on the 6th day, Hannah didn't recognize the look in her eyes. No worry, no warmth, only discomfort, as if guilt were something she had to politely manage. Margaret set down a bouquet and sighed. "Please don't be upset. It was a big day for your brother. We couldn't miss it." Hannah's fingers tightened around the blanket. Part of her wanted to scream, "What about me?" But she stayed silent. Not out of fear, out of exhaustion. When the door closed behind her mother, the light shifted. Sunset painted a thin gold streak across the floor. Beautiful, fleeting. Hannah watched it fade, whispering to herself, "They're not cruel. They just don't see me." And maybe. That's worse. The wind picked up outside, rattling the glass. Sometimes, she thought, loneliness isn't about being left behind. It's about realizing no one ever looked back to find you. The first morning after she was discharged, the snow had stopped. Hannah stood by the window of her Portland apartment, watching droplets trace paths down the glass. The city was quiet. Her body still ached, her breath still shallow, but the ache in her chest, that was different. It was the kind that no medicine could touch. Her phone buzzed with a message from a co-worker. "Did you see this? Matthew's company is under investigation." Attached was a link to an article, "Young CEO Matthew Reed arrested for corporate fraud." She read the headline twice, unable to feel anything at first. Not shock, not joy, not even anger. Just a numb sort of disbelief, like watching a statue shatter that she never believed was real. 2 days later, her parents came to her door. No flowers this time, no smiles, just desperation. Her father spoke first, voice dry and brittle. "Hannah, we need your help. The bail is more than we can afford. You've saved some money, haven't you?" She didn't move. In that moment, she understood. They hadn't come for her. They'd come for him. "You want me to pay for Matthew's bail?" she asked softly. Her mother's eyes glistened. "Just this once. We'll pay you back. We need to stand together." Hannah looked at them, at the people who had watched her fade for years. "When I was lying in that hospital bed, where were you?" No one answered. Her father shifted his weight, his jaw tightening. "Don't be childish. Family helps family." She smiled faintly. "Then maybe we're not family." They left without another word. The door clicked shut. And for the first time, Hannah didn't cry. Her tears had already been spent, long before this moment ever came. That night, she dreamed of her childhood home under the snow. She knocked on the door again and again, but no one came to let her in. The next morning, a blizzard swept through Portland. Winds howled across the coast, rattling her windows, shaking the loose latch. Hannah wrapped herself in a blanket, tea gone cold on the table, eyes fixed on the front page of the newspaper. Matthew's photo, handcuffed, face pale under camera flashes. She didn't feel triumph, only silence. Then came the pounding at her door. 3 sharp knocks, urgent, relentless. She opened it to find her parents again, shivering, soaked in melting snow. Her mother's mascara had run. Her father's expression was carved from stone. "You haven't been answering," he said. She stepped aside. They entered, bringing with them the smell of wet wool and old perfume. Her mother spoke first, voice trembling. "Please, Hannah. Matthew's case is moving to court. We're out of options. Help us. Just this once," that phrase again, "just this once." Hannah almost laughed. "You've said that my whole life," she whispered. "Every time Matthew messed up. Every time you needed me quiet." "And I was," her father snapped. "He's your brother. You can't turn your back on him." "And what about me?" she asked, her voice breaking, steady all at once. "Where were you when I needed you?" Her mother started to cry, reaching for her. "You don't understand. Parents make mistakes." "No," Hannah cut her off. "You made choices." Silence fell heavy between them. The storm outside seemed to pause, listening. "I begged for years for you to see me," Hannah whispered. "Now I finally see myself. I don't owe you anything anymore." Her father turned away. Her mother wept into her hands. When they left, the door closed gently, almost lovingly to her behind them. Hannah stood there, trembling, the room filled with the sound of her own breathing. For the first time in her life, she wasn't waiting for an apology. She was simply done. Outside, the storm began to break. A thin beam of light slid through the clouds, landing across the wooden floor. She reached out to touch it, that small, trembling warmth, the kind you only feel after everything else has gone cold. The apartment fell into a strange kind of quiet after that night. No phone calls, no emails, only the ticking of the clock and the rustle of paper as Hannah tried to write, letters she never sent, words that never quite found a place. Each morning, she sat by the window with her tea, staring at the grey ocean. The world seemed slower, softer, but not peaceful. The silence had weight. One afternoon, a new email appeared in her inbox. From Matthew Reed, subject, "Please, just read." Her hand hovered over the trackpad before she clicked. "Hannah, I don't expect forgiveness, but I need you to know the truth. I was involved, but I wasn't the mastermind. The executives used me as their cover. They're still free while I take the fall. You're the only one who ever saw me for who I was. Please, if you can, help me. Not for Mom and Dad, but for us." She read the message twice, then a third time. No tears came. Only that slow, tightening ache beneath her ribs. For a moment she wondered if this was what she'd wanted all along, for someone in that family to finally see her. But even now, the only reason he reached out was need. That night she walked to the shore. The air was sharp, the sky bruised with the last hint of daylight. She sat on a weathered bench, waves rolling in slow and steady. Maybe he was telling the truth. Maybe he wasn't. Either way, it didn't matter anymore. Back home, she opened a blank reply. Her fingers hovered over the keys. Then she hit delete. Standing by the window, she whispered into the quiet, "If you really regret it, find your own way out. I'm done saving everyone but myself." Rain began to fall, and soft, endless. It tapped gently on the glass like an echo of the heart she no longer needed to protect. By March, the air along the coast had started to warm. The snow was gone, leaving behind damp streets and the faint scent of salt in the wind. Hannah sat by the window, morning light spilling over her hands. It had been 3 weeks since Matthew's last message. He had confessed, made a deal, avoided prison. Her parents disappeared from public view, retreating into their silence. And somehow that silence no longer hurt. She began walking by the ocean every day. The cold water brushed her ankles. The rhythm of the tide felt like breathing. She took a part-time job at the local library, quiet, steady work. She liked the smell of paper, the hush between the shelves. For once, she didn't have to prove her worth to anyone. One afternoon, a letter arrived, handwritten, no return address. The handwriting was shaky but familiar. "My daughter, I don't know if you'll ever read this. I'm sorry. I thought love meant protecting one child. I didn't realize it meant losing the other. Matthew told me what he said to you. We've both made mistakes that can't be undone. If you never come back, I understand. But if one day the ocean looks calm to you, know that somewhere I'm still watching the waves and thinking of you. Mom." Hannah set the letter down beside her coffee, untouched and cold. She walked to the balcony. The sea stretched out before her, silver and endless. She didn't cry. She didn't forgive. But she smiled, a small, quiet thing, because the weight in her chest had finally loosened. "Some wounds never heal," she whispered. "But they stop hurting." The tide rolled in softly, smoothing over footprints in the sand. As the sky turned gold, Hannah stepped forward, her silhouette fading into the light. The sound of the waves no longer a cry, but a whisper. The sea had gone quiet. And so had she.